Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. It seems that the SNP are in deeper financial trouble than was ever thought. Whilst both Labour and the Tories have spent over £750,000 each on advertising on Facebook, the SNP have spent a total of £758.41 or something like that. Literally nothing, virtually nothing. They are that skint. It is no wonder they want their big passion wagon back, presumably to sell it, not for somewhere for Humza to go when he's looking for a little bit of loving. And so the old camper van must be retained, must be sold, and must be provided with all the amenities so that they can spend more than £750 on advertising. It is not good. And this is why we can break them, because they literally don't have a pot to piss in. Let's take a look at why Humza is now the poor man of politics. Here goes. So SNP cash woes over low social media spend. In a general election year, they aren't spending anywhere near enough. People barely know they're there. If you looked online, there's nothing because they haven't got the cash. They are desperate. They are stony broke. An online site has shown that the SNP spending a negligible amount on Meta, which is Facebook, ads. The SNP has spent a tiny amount on Facebook adverts compared to Labour and the Tories in a general election year at that. They should be out there spending, advertising, pushing, leafleting, video, everything. And they're not. And this, of course, is because of a direct result of no money. They have got falling membership. They're not getting that little tiny trickle of money from 130,000, but now probably under 70,000. They keep losing politicians because the politicians themselves have to hand over a proportion of their earnings. So every time they lose an election, that's more money lost. And especially big ones like an MP, because that's a significant wage that they're not handing over. At the same time, with all the malfeasance that they're being accused of at various levels, they're not getting the corporate sponsors. The corporate sponsors don't want to be aligning themselves with a party filled with people who may well end up going to jail. They have their company's reputations to think of. Why would you be sitting there, sort of cuddling up to Jack the Ripper, as it were? An online database suggests that the SNP have only spent £738 on a handful of ads, with some focusing on former leader Nicola Sturgeon. This is in contrast to Labour and the Tories at a UK level, who've spent over £750,000 each. Labour MSP Jackie Bailey said, "This shows that only Scottish Labour is serious about speaking to the people of Scotland and engaging with their concerns." To be fair, Jackie, the Tories are doing it as well. They're 750,000 each. Not it's not just Labour. But the point is, you're right. At least other parties are engaging, are pushing their message, are encouraging people to be aware of them and to vote for them. The SNP, not so much. As the SNP's financial woes continue, it is clear that they are struggling to operate seriously as a political party. The ongoing police investigation into SNP donations when Sturgeon was in charge has put a major spotlight on the party's finances. I would put paltry finances, because there is very little left. The last account showed there were 800,000 in the red. Guaranteed that will be well over the million by now. And with nothing coming in, what is there? Detectives working on Operation Branchform are probing claims cash raised for MDRF2 was used fraudulently. Well, it has disappeared, so it must be. Pressure on SNP budgets has also come from a fall in the number of people who are party members. Like I said, it's fallen from maybe 131,000 at its peak down to probably under 70. It's not a lot. An online trends website tracks the spending of political parties on Meta, which used to be known as Facebook. The Conservative Party, including local associations and candidates, has spent just shy of £900,000 this year on the social media site. Labour and the associated groups were second in £720,000. But the database shows the SNP's total spend since January the 1st is a paltry £783, my apologies. That extra £3 may make all the difference. And that, of course, is in a general election year. It seems they're not serious about wanting to win it. The Trossachs and Teeth branch was responsible for 420 of the sum, which included an ad defending Sturgeon from media criticism. When you have to take out an ad defender, you know things are bad. And when over half your spend is on that single subject, rather than pushing Humza Yousaf, it goes to show exactly what the Trossachs think of Humza. Not good. It said, if the appalling comments made by unionist politicians and media pundits, I'm a pundit, I will make and continue to make appalling statements of fact and of opinion about Nicola Sturgeon. So if they have annoyed you, a good way to respond is join the SNP. It's very easy, not expensive, and shows the naysayers what we feel. Dear heavens, you are desperate now, aren't you? Another ad plugged an appearance by Sturgeon at a Burns supper. A standing ovation and a full house for our guest speaker, Nicola Sturgeon, with a rousing toast to Scotland, a wonderful start to campaigning in 2024. Oh, bless. Go there, eat your haggis, and I tell you what, you put you off your haggis sitting looking at that mush, wouldn't it? Looking at old sourpuss herself, sitting there, mouth like that, glaring eyes, and then just try to eat your tatty and neeps. Not a chance, mate. Another £345 was spent by SNP Pentlands West, and 18 for an advert by MSP Fiona Hislop on a local train station. The last train to Clarksville. Or in her case, the last train to Auschwitz. She'll be waving them off, won't she? We all know how the SNP feel about that particular group. There were no records of Meta adverts promoting national SNP messages at all. Because no one wants to wank the money on it. What are you going to back? Humza Yousaf, you don't want his face plastered over anything. He's a surefire electoral loser. He is toxic. They know it. They know that the voters don't like him. They know their own supporters don't like him. That's why they don't want to do anything at a national scale. If they do it locally, they can get your local candidate on. That's fine. Do it nationally, it's the kiss of death, isn't it? In the same period, the Lib Dems spent £24,000, the Greens £15,000, and the right wing, they're vaguely right wing, who've just won a case, incidentally. Reform spent £14,000. Reform just won the case and had to get an apology from the head of the BBC because the BBC said they were far right and they had to go back, and they didn't like it, but they were forced to do it because, of course, they're not far right. There is no far right, Whereas there is, it's very tiny. But the actual normal right in this country are just far to the left of what you think of the far right. They're very centrist, The far left, on the other hand, are way out there. Anyway, an SNP source countered by saying the party's huge membership, really, meant they had a huge organic reach across social media platforms. What they mean is, you haven't got the money, we've got to find a reason for not spending. We're a big party, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? They pointed out that the last Holyrood election, where Labour spent way more than the SNP on social media adverts, but came third. Not going to be happening this time. SNP Deputy Leader Keith Brown said, I'm going to lose my seat, and it's very sad. Oh, that's not what he said. He said, in Scotland over the last 6 years, the SNP has run the most effective Facebook ads campaigns on a cost per voter and cost per seat basis. Yeah, but not putting any out. That's why. If you're not putting them out, it's going to be cheap, isn't it? He said, unlike our main political rivals, the SNP's digital campaigns continue to be powered by our members and supporters who make sure our message reaches voters across Scotland. Well, I'm afraid to say, SNP, Keith Brown, that people have seen your message, they don't like your message, and they're not going to vote for you. Sure, some idiots will, but the stupid will always be among us. Fancy that, though. £700 in an election year. And they don't even want to put his face on the tin. Deary, deary me. I wonder why. Coming up. Well, there we go. That draws us to another end. It's Wednesday's finished, done and dusted. Do definitely hit the subscribe button. Help the channel grow. And keep an eye out. We've done a video today, me and Craig. It'll be going live on his channel, I think Saturday, but it may be out over the next couple of days. It's up to him. It's his channel. When he puts them out, I do not know. But keep an eye out for that on Craig Houston Talks Too. And go over there and give him a like. Give him a subby as well. Subscribe to him. We need to keep the voices of the sane loud and clear. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I've been Silver Fox. You have been, as usual, magnificent. Thank you. Goodbye.